I wanted to go home every day for the first 2 months. Each day I woke up and I said, am I going to quit today or not? And I said, well, let's try one more day. And it took that first 2 months to really believe that I could spend 2 years doing it.
And the night smells, it was so bad, you know, open sewers. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do this, it's awful, you know. And then
drawn to the poverty that people, the struggle for just everyday existence that just doesn't exist in our country, in the United States.
How tall is your child? And most of us go, well, you know, my son or my daughter is about this high, this high, or this high. And in Ecuador, that specifically, you're talking about animals. So when you talk about your children, how tall they are, you're supposed to turn your hand that way.
That was a complete shock because you know, they put us in a downtown hotel, and I remember just trying to walk out on the sidewalk and being surrounded by small children begging. Not even be able to walk on the sidewalk because everybody's sleeping on the sidewalks, and being completely overwhelmed.
I said, well, have a brochette. Well, I said, this is very tough. And I said, what kind of meat is it? And he pointed to the sky, where the vulture was. So he said, that was vulture meat. So to this day, I don't know whether he was pulling my leg or not. But
actually, I ran into the culture shock twice. One is from American side, and one is from Nambia.
I often got asked if I knew Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, as I said, it was sort of mid-cycle for the Peace Corps, which meant that a week after I had been hiking on Mount St. Helens in 10 feet of snow and snowshoes, I got off a plane in Malaysia, and it was like walking into a perfume steam bath. And of course, we'd been flying for like 24 hours. We didn't know which end was up.
I remember arriving at the airport 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Of course, that's the heat of the day. And it was probably 110 at least degrees. And we said, this is the capital of the country. And yet the airport was dirt, the dirt floor. And they were selling, cow dung and all fetishes. And I said, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this. And I broke down. And our Peace Corps director, C-Pain Lucas, said to me, you're one of my toughest, you can do it, this is it.
Actually, English was my greatest challenge.
About expressing myself verbally and really just being assertive and being very honest and open and all, I couldn't hide my emotions if I tried. You know what I mean? And so it was really challenging for me to connect because I really find it sad and, that wasn't reciprocated.
Walking back from school and seeing 2 or 3 girls, late teenage girls, coming towards me, and they've got sort of flowers. They've got a bunch of flowers in their hands, but also in their hair, flower petals and stuff, and sort of flowers all over them. And so I say to them, Ichidichiani, what is this? And they say, Malua. And I say, oh, I know that it's flowers. I can see they're flowers, but why? And they say, oh, Corpus Christi, Feast of Corpus Christi. So, oh, so they were taking flowers to the church, and so I walk home, and I realize as I get home that those flowers, they had denuded. There were in the front of my house with beautiful flowers, and there were no more flowers. There were no more flowers, and the same as in the mangoes in our mango tree. They would never get ripe.
Early in the morning, it was right after the sun had come up on a red-eye flight from Paris. And what immediately struck me was how close I was to the sun.